Welcome back to my crawl space. I have had several people ask me, what is the best way to hook up an ERV in a home? And it's really not that hard. I go over this kind of thing in 1 hour with my clients, and we size all the duct work and pick the ERV and all this stuff. I'm gonna show you mine, and then you can worry about looking into all the other videos that we've got on this channel about ERVs and duct sizing and things like that on the channel. So this is my Brone AI. This is a digital controlled ERV, not HRV. I got a video about that. This digital control is pretty much exclusive to the really expensive high-end ERVs, to the Brone AI and this new Panasonic Elite Plus. So check those out because it's great. When you see nipples on the front of the ERV, it means that you have to test it to know what it's doing. And that just makes it, for those of you who are like in the middle of nowhere with no one, and you could be in New York City and say that to me, by the way, this is gonna make your job easier. So this thing will just give you whatever you ask for. Now, on the note of this machine is gonna come almost universally with 6-inch collars on it. That's 6-inch round holes that you connect the ductwork to. A lot of you are gonna make the mistake of taking their advice and just hooking up 6-inch ductwork to that. That's the wrong move. It will be too restricted to actually run properly. So the very first thing you do is you upsize with what is called a reducer, but really you're using it as an expander. So we go from this 6-inch collar to an 8-inch. This thing right here is actually for containing flex duct insulation. So it's not really it doesn't fit this 8-inch. So that's why we've done this. All of these have this 6 to 8-inch connection. So now all the rest of our ductwork is 8-inch. This is an uninsulated duct that's actually coming from outside. I didn't have to insulate this because what I basically got going on is a passive, kind of like a preheater, where this air is running through the ductwork, and in the wintertime, it's gonna be getting a little wet on the outside and maybe dripping, but it's dripping on my concrete floor, which you can see is like very nice and clean. There's no bugs down here. I love this crawl space. For those of you who are like, ooh, I don't want crawl space air in my house, build it right and build it as a part of the house, and then you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so the 6 to 8-inch connections, these normally, as I said, would be insulated, but I was, number one, lazy, number two, wanted to see what would happen, number three, and getting a benefit out of it by pre-cooling the air coming in from outside in the summertime, preheating the air coming in from outside in the wintertime. So by the time this thing gets to here, it's warmed quite a bit, and now the ERV core, which is inside of here, has a much easier time. Now, this detachable door, good, do that. I've had ones that you have to like hold up with your head while you're trying to deal with this. This is the core. Air is moving this way and air is moving this way. You can see the way that the air is moving because it always hits the filter before it hits the core. So this is the air leaving the house, and you can see it has to take this huge 180-degree turn over here to get outside. This is the air coming into the house. This filter is see-through. And that's okay. You shouldn't have that much pollution in your house that you're trying to get out. So this one can be a MERV 2 or 3, whatever. I mean, they're not really rating these things. This is my little trick that you are welcome to steal. You can order a giant bag of filter media. It comes in a giant folded sheet like this, and it's like 6 by 8. And then you take your little scissors and you cut a bunch of filters that are very low cost for you. And then you're coming down here once every 3 months and checking this thing and replacing it. And by the way, I do have this very nice 4-inch pleated 24 by 24 filter that I showed in a different video. And I will glance you by that. But that thing is MERV 13, and I still have a little bit of filter bypass. And so this is still necessary. Don't take this completely out. That being said, this is dollars. Once every 3 months, take it out, you put the new one in, throw it in the trash. Not a problem. Okay, so there's a little extra trick for you. If you're gonna have the pre-filter, still have this thing. Okay, now we shouldn't have to do anything else with this. So this, the only thing we've done to the ERV is just make sure that it's connecting to 8-inch rounds on every one of its connections. Now you might be in a place in the country where you're working with oval duct a lot, and that's cool, you could do that. But at this first connection, you want it to be 8-inch, and then you make the 8 into an oval if you really wanted to. Now, one thing that you'll notice over here is that we have a silencer built in. That is because this is a completely independently ducted ERV system. So this silencer right here is it's called a Fantech LD series. And it drops the noise quite a bit. I would say maybe by half for the type of frequency we were looking for. What was really interesting is that this thing, the noise issue that we were having was all the way upstairs. It was at the very end of the run in my kids' room, where it was just coming out, and for some reason the geometry of the inside of these hard metal ducts just made it sound extra loud up there. And when I say loud, I mean like this house is perfectly silent, so anything that's machine noise is like a little bit noticeable. So this is one upgrade that we made on that, and all you need is this 30 inches to be able to add that. This is an 8-inch. This is a couple $100 tops. Now you can see I have added some flex duct, and that is because, not because I'm cheaping out, it's because making these connections with hard is really hard. This doesn't need to be insulated. The two that are going outside should be insulated. Again, I'm just going to remind you, but they are not, as you can see in my case, because the consequence of dripping on the floor here is 0. In fact, I'm using it as research. So we can see this one goes to outside. On the outside of the house, there is an FML hood vent. You can get all kinds of sexy, cool hood, vent terminations that just basically keep rain from getting in, but allow the air to come and go. No flapper on either of the intake or the exhaust. In my case, the exhaust is very, very short. Even though it takes that 180 right there, it's still easier to get air out of the house than to get air into the house, which is from here all the way down to that giant filter box and then up and out. If I had it to do over again, I would still put the machine here because it's easier for maintenance, but I would try to make the exhaust a little bit further away so that I could maybe split the difference, or make it easier to send, to bring air into the house than to send air out, because you just don't want depressurization in a house. That ends up being like a little bit of an issue. And you've seen other videos on my channel about that. So when we go to the inside, let me take you, just follow me around the crawl space, and you'll be able to see what a great thing these roller chairs are. So 4-inch pleated media filter here. This is just the little, I've got this thing hooked up here so that I can contain it. Right there, bam, MERV 13, love it so much. I had an AC Infinity filter box in here, and I really like the stuff that they make sometimes, but sometimes it's not too serious. And this filter box that they make, this inline filter box, was one of those not too serious ones. You can see we've masticed everything is mechanically fastened, and we've got it strapped up, hung from the floor joists above with this. You don't have to worry about vibration for the most part. Compressors create vibration. An ERV doesn't have a compressor, and it's just fans. And those fans should not be weighted. It's not like laundry. There's not stuff banging around in there, so there shouldn't be any vibration with any of this stuff. Okay, this way. Now, as I mentioned, our system is completely independently ducted. I installed all this ductwork myself. I would not do an independently ducted ERV again, because the benefit, whatever you're like, but wait, what about all those benefits that you're thinking about, I don't think are worth the actual time and trouble to install all the extra ductwork. You have 2 grills in each room now instead of just 1, which means you might have to find a place for 2 grills. And if they can't be right next to each other, which would be ideal, then you're like, it just gets weird, and you might have a pool of conditioned air and a pool of fresh air within the room, and it's just not great. So this is our central return, and the air is coming down into this, and the way that I'm normally recommending people do this now is, if you're gonna have a central filter, like a really nice MERV 16 ability, which is always what I'm kind of aiming my clients toward, is let's have the ability to MERV 16 just in case you have any health issues in your family and need that. Then let's inject the ERV fresh air into this duct as far upstream of the air handler as possible. The manufacturers are gonna ask for 10 feet away from the air handler. You often will not have that ability, but as far up as you possibly can. So I would, if I could, dump it right here. And then, because my air handler runs 24/7, this fan never shuts off, it's gonna distribute this fresh air around the house through my very nice interstate highway that connects all my rooms. And why am I having two fans running 24/7, running through separate ductwork when one of them could just empty together? So I would say just that's something that I like to often recommend to my clients, because a lot of times people think that the more serious version is to have it totally independently ducted. And there are reasons to do that if you're using ductless mini splits all over the house or things like that, or you've got a bunch of different duct systems, but you want to have one ERV, then you have to do that. But in general, if you're going to work with central ducted air handlers, just dump it in right here. I would if I was going to do this again. Let me show you how the rest of the ductwork works this way. Okay, so this is our main trunk. This ERV is set up on a trunk and branch system. If you're looking at something like a Zender or a Brink, we're using, there are different kind of hose, little like kind of pool hose configurations. That's called a radial system, and each one of those is a home run. And the companies that make those systems would love to have you do a home run because they make more money selling you much more hose. I don't think it saves you a lot of space using 3-inch hose because you can use a lot of them. For example, a toilet room would have one hose that would be default, but you want to be able to boost that. So really each one of those toilet rooms, like the smallest one you're going to have, is going to be a 2 hose. Because you got one that's all the time, and then one for when you boost the system. You need to be able to get more CFM out of there, otherwise it'll kind of whistle and sound weird. So showers are gonna be 3 hoses of those. Toilet rooms and powder rooms are gonna be 2. That's just a lot of extra hose and a lot of extra cost. So this trunk and branch system is not home run. Every one of the extracts in the house is coming down into this trunk right here. This is all gonna work basically the same way. You can see I've masticed everything because I don't want this plumbing leaking, just like I don't want my main conditioning ductwork leaking, just like I don't want my plumbing for water leaking either. So the supplies and the returns work basically the same way. The principle is 8 inches coming out of the machine and then kind of downsizing. You can see here we've downsized to 6-inch. On an ERV system, you don't need to do that so much on the exhaust side. And if you're gonna do what I just recommended, which is dump the fresh air directly from the ERV into the return side of your air handler, you don't have to worry about the supply side. On the exhaust side, pulling air is much easier than pushing air in general. Upsize all day long. Just keep it 8-inch all the way to the end. You don't need to worry about little step downs like this. This ERV supply is coming along here. You can see it takes a turn to upstairs. Now I made a mistake here. I put the, well, it's not a mistake, but it's something that you could avoid if you wanted to. I put manual dampers on everything because this is the first duct system that I have ever built. And I thought, might as well have it. These duct dampers cost less than $1, the manual damper. So you basically have a flap in there that I can open and close by turning this. So now there's no fresh air going up to the top floor. Now there is fresh air going up to the top floor. We also have those adjustable grills on each one of these supply and extract systems. Now, the supply, again, is not necessary if you're gonna inject into the return, but it's gonna work the same way. So basically we have 8-inch coming along, branching off to 6 inches if you were gonna branch 2 different ways. Here you could say each run out is a 4-inch going out this way and that way. This 4-inch run out, as you can see, I don't need this. In this case, I actually do need the manual damper because this one's going up to a stack. So the way this works is you got 4-inch round coming along, and if you want to go inside of a wall, because like me, you're running your ductwork inside of a crawl space, we're coming along with 4-inch round, and if I need to go up and into a wall, I need to transition to rectangular. And I'm rectangular here 3 by 10, 3 inches deep, 10 inches wide. That will fit inside of a 2x4 wall, which is what most of your walls inside the house are going to be at minimum. If you have 2x6 interior walls, great, you could just keep this 4-inch round and go straight up. 4-inch round is 12 square inches of cross-sectional area. A 3 by 10 is 30 square inches. So I am definitely slowing down the air inside of here. On an extract, not too important, because what I'm gonna do at the end of this is I've got those adjustable dampers and I'm just gonna choke it down there so that this machine that's way over in the corner there with that one fan that's running the whole extract is gonna pull whatever it can get. And we're just basically balancing the paths of least resistance to make this work. There is no way that any bathroom needs to pull, any bathroom point needs to pull more than a 4-inch round with 12 square inches. We're upsizing to this 3 by 10 because it's the smallest size they make. If you want to just go to the store and buy a rectangular, what's called wall stack, it's 3x10, 3x12, 3x14. You don't need the 3x12s and the 3x14s in general unless you're trying to pair up with like your main trunk and take it way up to the top of the house and then kind of branch off from there. Round is generally better for airflow than rectangular, so try and stay in round if you possibly can. Again, 4 inches may not be necessary either, but it's the smallest size that they sell. So you can't get 3 or 2 off the shelf in most places. So basically this 4-inch runout would lead up through this wall stack and into the wall. And all I do is, in the case of a toilet, bring the duct up to the top of the toilet tank and then cap it off and then let them drywall. And I know that it's in there. And when I'm ready, I can just drill a hole in the drywall with a hole saw, 4-inch round, and then keep going through the metal of the sheet metal of the wall stack, and bam, I'm inside the duct, and then I just pop my adjustable grill into that. And you can make this more fancy as you like, but that's the general minimum that you're looking for. In the case of our showers, you can see that all of our extracts are in the wall, even though it would be just as well to do it in the ceiling. But in my case, I'm coming from below, so going up into the top of the wall is perfect. Go as high as you possibly can. When you're doing these wall stacks, in the case of a shower, take it up until it hits the top plate of the interior wall, and then make sure that you've capped it, obviously, and sealed it. And then just drill the hole wherever you want. Now, the way that I did it in the case of our shower is I went ahead and drilled the hole so that then I could make sure the tilers I didn't want to cut through tile, cement board, and then also all these things. So basically just do whatever makes it easy for you. You may find that you need to soffit some places. You may not find that you need to, afterwards, cut into some walls and add some stuff. You could do that all day long as the floor framing on walls, that the floor framing does not lie right underneath the interior wall. Because if it does, you can't use any of those wall cavities. Likewise, on walls that run perpendicular, you want to make sure that the studs in those walls lie directly over the floor framing. Why would a framing crew do either of those things? They wouldn't. You have to force them to do that. You're going to ask them, you're going to review with them, and then you're going to show up on site and they're doing it wrong, and you're going to have to force them. So just know that this is weird stuff that you're asking people to do, because people aren't used to this kind of stuff. And by the way, people are going to try and talk you out of an ERV. I don't think I mentioned that at the beginning, but obviously if you're watching this video this far into it, you know enough to know that nobody in your area knows about how this stuff works. So you're the expert now. What's that? Yet. So you're the expert now. Make sure that you're teaching people about this stuff. Make sure that you tell them that they can pull extract from bathrooms, and that's totally approved by all the ERV manufacturers. Make sure that they know not to just run a 6-inch duct. Make sure that you know that running metal duct is better than running flex. It's going to last a lot longer. This is a 100-year duct system. I won't have to worry about it if I get hit by a bus eventually, which will happen to all of us. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. If you have other questions, feel free to pop them below. I generally try to pay attention to that. And like and subscribe. Tune in next time.